Hines.
Thank you. And we don't have a set presentation tonight as much as we have a celebration. And so I'd like to start off by asking, how many here have known Ben and Wanda over the course of the last 60-some years here in Laverne? Wow. That's quite a few friends here, Ben. And the next question, how many of you folks have perhaps played for Ben over the course of your lives here? That's great, we've got a couple of players. And perhaps how many have coached with him over the years? Ben Hines was born November 7th, 1935 in Yeager, Oklahoma. Like many of you here, he developed a love of baseball at an early age and was ultimately able to realize that dream at multiple levels of the game. As a player, he played for McFarland High School in Kern County, the University of Laverne, and professionally in the Baltimore Orioles farm system. When his professional playing days ended in 1961, he became a teacher and coach at the University of Laverne, a position that he held for nearly 20 years. During this period, he spent many summers coaching semi-pro ball in Utah, Alaska, South Dakota, and Tennessee. In 1972, his University of Laverne Leopards won the NAIA National Championship, and Ben was awarded NAIA Coach of the Year. In 1980, he left ULB and became coach of the Arizona University Sun Devils, where in 1981, they won the NCAA championship. In 1982, he moved on to the professional ranks, where he served as a scout, instructor, and coach, beginning in the minor leagues, followed by 12 years as a coach at the major league level for the Seattle Mariners, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Houston Astros. As I'm sure most of you know, he was the hitting coach for the Los Angeles Dodgers when they last won a World Series in 1988. Upon retiring from the professional ranks in 1994, Ben continued to coach at the U.S. World Championship team level and served as a scout for the Los Angeles Dodgers for 7 years.
I scouted for the Angels after '94.
Thank you.
It wasn't the Dodgers.
Okay, thank you. We haven't talked in a while. Over the course of his career, Ben has been inducted into the Kern County Hall of Fame, the NAIA Hall of Fame, the NCAA Hall of Fame, and the University of Laverne Hall of Fame. Further, the baseball fields at both McFarland High School and the University of Laverne are named after him. Though there may be others, I believe Ben is the only person that has won national and world baseball titles at the NAIA, NCAA, and Major League level. More importantly, along this remarkable road of life, Ben and his dear wife, Wanda, also raised 3 wonderful children, Steve, Bruce, and Christy. And they are now the grandparents of 3 delightful granddaughters, Brittany, Kelsey, and Kylie. Their grandson, Ryan, rests in peace. They have lived in Laverne for 63 years, and they now reside here at Hillcrest. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Laverne's own Ben Hines.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Something about my life that I don't consider unique, but I was very fortunate to have. A lot of people have trouble knowing what they want to do. You know, you go to a college and you can see 50% of the students are still struggling with what they're going to do during their lifetime. I knew from the get-go what I wanted to do. I wanted to play baseball as a professional. But then I realized, and Ort told me this one time, he says, Ben, you know where to put a person, a player, a student, in the game that he has a chance to win. And I said, yeah, that's important. And I always knew, or had a feeling about a person's talent, so I knew where to put them in a game, and gave them a chance to succeed. Now, when you always go into a game situation that the odds are against you, that's tough. That is really tough. It's hard for a person to accomplish anything. Gone out for what? Oh.
But some folks have accomplished some stuff. This is the Verne Historical Society, so we're going to take you back to a historic time in baseball and Ben's career.
Coming up.
They were crazy, man.
He just missed, but here's two quick strikes, both fastballs that kind of tail away the outside part. Hasse is not even flirting with the inside part of that plate.
You saw Dave Duncan gesturing. He was gesturing to Carney Lansford at third. 0-2 to Gibson. The infield is back with 2 out and Davis at first. Now Gibson during the year, not necessarily in this spot, but he was a threat to bunt. No way tonight, no wheels.
They're plenty deep in the outfield and a lot of room. They're playing him straight away in center field. Look at it, right down the line. He's a threat now with 2 strikes.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Little number foul. And it had to be an effort to run that far. Gibson was so banged up, he was not introduced. He did not come out onto the field before the game.
You can really see the limp. He's not driving that ball. It was by him. You can see he's really he almost has to talk to his legs and say, hey, let's go. We got to get out of here.
It's one thing to favor one leg, but you can't favor 2.
No way, and that's what he's trying to do. He really is.
0-2 to Gibson. Ball 1. And a throw down to first. Davis just did get back. Good play by Ron Hasse using Gibson as a screen. He took a shot at the runner, and Mike Davis didn't see it. Socha can only sit now and sweat it out. He led off the inning and popped up. Tony La Russa is 1 out away from win number 1.
Here's the big pitch. He's got to make it happen on this one.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out.
Those extra steps that Davis will get if the count goes to 3-2 are very big. So Hasse and Eckersley want that pitch of decision right here.
There he goes, way outside. He's stolen it.
Hasse started throwing, kind of bumped Gibson, but it was way too late. Davis was way down there, almost as if he could have walked in. Not a bad pitch to handle for Hasse outside. Now watch when he starts to throw. Look at Gibson. And Harvey says, no, he had the base stolen.
So Mike Davis, the tying run, is at second base with 2 out. Now the Dodgers don't need the muscle of Gibson as much as a base hit. And on deck is the leadoff man, Steve Sachs. 3-2. Sachs waiting on deck, but the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
Been smiling there. There's been smiling there.
In a year that has been so improbable,
What was it like to be there?
Yes, it was. That was a great night. Kirk had injured his knee against the Mets, and it was about the 7th or 8th inning in the last game we were playing in New York, and he hated the little second baseman for the Mets. I can't remember what his name was, but he was a cocky little arrogant little sucker. And Gibby hated him. And so Gibby went after him that night in New York and was going to give him a pretty good body slam and try to get underneath him, lift him up. And as he stood up, to take him on his back and then slam him to the ground, and which is not typical. But when he slid into second base, he didn't take the compression off his lower leg soon enough, and his knee just folded up like that. And what happened was, it tore the tendon right in here of the hamstring. So everybody thought he had a hamstring problem. And so he did rehab all winter. And Gibby would work hard on rehab. When he tried to run, there was no push-off. There was no push-off, no explosion. Oh, I'm sorry. There was no push-off, no explosion when he tried to use that hamstring. Well, we went on about 3 or 4 months, him playing so-so. And finally one night in Atlanta, I said, Jimmy, you got to get this thing taken care of, one way or the other, because as a halfway man, you don't do it. So the next day, I came to the ballpark, and he had gone to Boston to check in with a orthopedic doctor that was very good in what they call compression injuries. And sure enough, they went in and cut his vein open to the hamstring, and there was just nothing in there but powdery dust. All the muscle fibers in that muscle had gone kaput. They got torn so badly in New York that night that they never came back for a long, long time. And that was his problem. So he wasn't very effective for us that year. But that night, he gathered up enough gumption to hit it. And people say that's what won the World Series for us. They say that was the thing that put you over the edge. That wasn't what won the World Series for us. Oral Hershiser won the World Series. He was such a dominant person on the mound and had such a great sinker and dipping slider that year, '88, he was almost unhittable. And in the playoffs that season, he carried us. He carried us through. He had 2 wins and a save. And he pushed us over the edge as a championship team. Where are you going? No, not really.
Okay, then let's go back in time. When you were growing up, people like Sandy Koufax and Maury Wills were my baseball heroes. Who were your baseball heroes in your youth, and what triggered your love of the game? Do you remember?
Okay. My hero was Jackie Robinson. I don't know how a little white Okie boy could learn to love a black athlete like I love Jackie Robinson. He came out of Pasadena, went to UCLA, and was a great athlete at UCLA. But he was my hero. Now, and Sandy Koufax was one of my heroes too. And I found out after I became a Dodger coach that Sandy is really a sharp person. He understood the mechanics of pitching better than anybody I knew. Now he couldn't afford to be a coach because it didn't pay enough. Sandy was used to living a little higher life. But what a great guy. He was a great guy. But Jackie Robinson was my hero. I used to, in the San Joaquin Valley, McClatchy Broadcasting would have a rebroadcast of the Dodgers game later at night, or some game later at night at 10 o'clock. And I'd take the radio and go into the dining room at the house, and I'd get under the table, and everybody else was asleep, and I'd listen to the ball game.
I used to go out to the car. Ben, you played a lot of baseball in your younger days. Looking back, what were your favorite memories from those early times, and what do you feel made you such a great coach and master of the game?
Great player?
Well, great coach and master of the game.
I don't think I was such a great player, but I was a good coach. And I did have the ability to know where and when to put guys in, and whether they could handle that pressure or not. And the highlight for me was the 1972 Verne College Championship. I got more out of that because I was more emotionally involved with that crew. And they were achievers way beyond their ability. And they really were. They accomplished something because they were so cohesive that they just, everything worked together as they went about their playing the game of baseball. And that was my fondest dream in athletics, was the Verne 1972 baseball team. And I don't want to belittle the World Series, man. That was something. I mean, it was, as professional baseball goes, it was one of the best things that, by far, that ever happened to me.
You coached for the Seattle Mariners, Houston Astros, as well as the Dodgers. Other than the Gibson home run, what do you think back, when you think back, what was your favorite memory of coaching just at general professional level?
When I think about the game, I think about how I influenced the play of certain guys and what their abilities to do. Because you don't coach a kid one day and have him change to a player. And something I learned real early in professional baseball, just like I did in the transition from NAIA to Division I, is that a pat on the ass can make a much bigger difference than a sarcasm with the lips. And that always played for me. And I regretted a lot of the times that I criticized players for their play and what they did, because it didn't accomplish anything. But a little pat on the fanny and a little encouraging word, you would be amazed at how that would help them in their play. Steve Sachs told me once, he says, Ben, He said, I missed you today. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you weren't out at batting practice. He said, when I come out of the cage, you weren't there to pat me on the back. And I missed you. Well, even a major league that was second in the National League in hitting that year liked to have his little positive reinforcements. And he was an athlete that was riding at his peak at that time. And he should have won the National League Championship. The damn kid up in Montreal set that last ball game out and won by half a point.
I remember when that happened. Kind of changing here. You were a member of many national championship teams that led to you meeting with Presidents Ronald Reagan and George Bush.
Oh, yeah.
What would you like to share with us about those meetings, if you would, please?
Well, Bush came down into the dugout and into the clubhouse, and he actually played baseball at, where did he go to school? Yale. He actually played ball at Yale, and he had a couple of good stories about his days of playing at Yale. And Reagan played in the movie The Yankees, but I don't think he ever played beyond that. But a very interesting thing happened the day we were at the White House. We all got up and we were sitting around and having some refreshments, and the TV guy said, let's go into the Oval Office now. So we all got up and we started marching through this St. Augustine grass, and I was right behind Ronald and Nancy, and we had kind of a line going up to the entrance to Oval Office. And I noticed her going, getting ready to go to the right. So I reached up as we were walking along, and her heels were going way down in the Augustine glass, and she was having tennis, and she was falling. So I grabbed her, and she had a small waist, and I grabbed her around her waist like this, and I brought her up like this, and give her a little push forward, and I heard the head kind of turned, not all the way, but I heard this nice little soft, thank you. And that was my association with Ronald Reagan.
Thank you. Can you put the alumni game picture up, please?
Alumni?
Those alumni from last month. As you
The guy kneeling to me next to me right there is Joey Malfitano, and that's Tommy to the right. And an interesting story about Tommy. I was not Tommy's choice. I was Al Campanis' choice. And Al Campanis told Tommy that I was going to be the hitting coach. Now, Gibby there next to Tommy was a very hard-working baseball player. One morning in spring training, after we'd been there about maybe 5, 6, 7 days, he would always run down to the cages and the tunnels, which were about 300 or 400 feet away from the clubhouse. And we got down there and we started to hit. And he had his tape. Oh, he had this tape around his fingers like this, and he had blisters on all of his fingers. And the blood was oozing out at here and there and there. And he just wanted to keep hitting. He just wanted to keep swinging. he felt that we had found something in his swing that gave him more backspin, and he knew that that was power. The guy next to him there was the center fielder for the Dodgers.
Shelby.
Huh?
John Shelby.
John Shelby. How do you know that? John Shelby played for me in Bluefield. I was a manager in Bluefield and the Appalachian League. I can't remember what year it was, 73 or 4, something like that. And he was late for our the workouts at Bluefield Stadium there 2 days in a row. And on the second day, I went up to him, I said, John, I said, if you're late tomorrow, just keep on going. And it scared the crap out of him. So he went home to Kentucky that night, borrowed his dad's car, drove back, and he was never late the rest of the year. But he was gone all night. And he was a good one. Now, straight behind Gibson there is Dempsey. Dempsey made a complete change when it came to the Dodgers. At Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, all he did was jerk the ball for a 3-run home run. Earl Weaver, that's all he wanted in Baltimore was 3-run home runs. Well, the first day we got to Dodger Stadium, I took Dempsey out and I showed him where his 3-run home runs used to go out of Baltimore. And I said, look here, you reached the warning track here, and the ball would have been in the grass there at Dodger Stadium. I said, so you better learn to hit the other way and stay inside the ball so that you can have more contact and have better drive. Well, sure enough, about, I'd say, 20 to 30 games in the season, he picked up on it. And about that time, Soch pulled a hamstring, and he got to play, 15 straight games or so. And that's how you really develop your play. Let me tell you something about some of these other guys. Stevie Sachs never had number 3 right there. He never had another year like he had that year in 86. He never had that same sense that the ball coming off his bat. John Tudor had such over Steve Sachs' shoulder. Had such a bad torn, what do you call it? Huh? No, not labrum, rotator. He tore the crap out of his rotator. And Oral there was simply beyond belief. 50-something innings of no runs. We were down in San Diego, and he was going out for the 58th or 59th inning without scoring a run. And he says, what do you think, Ben? Should I just make sure they don't get more than one and leave it at that and time? I said, hell no. Bury his ass. And so we went out on the field, and sure enough, he snapped 1, 2, 3 real quick and held the record. And yes?
She got the tee up.
Oh.
We got to go back to the
That's
stadium
enough of that
picture.
story, okay? I was telling you about my friends.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Ben, out here on display are a number of mementos from your career. Which ones do you cherish most and why?
Memory?
Mementos, World
mementos.
Series championship trophies,
Mementos?
etc.
I guess the 72 NAI World Series trophy. Trophies as a general rule don't mean a hell of a lot to me. I remember the time that we won our first NAIA championship, regional championship. I think we beat Westmont for the championship. And I put the trophy on top of the station wagon, and off we went. And nobody ever saw the trophy again. So trophies didn't mean a hell of a lot to me. What always got me and would cramp me up was the process, the working together, the dealing with each other's personality. One night we were playing, and I think we were in St. Louis, and Gibby hit a little soft fly ball to right field. And he left his hat. I was coaching first too. So he left his helmet, he took his helmet off between first and second because he always ran the ball. He left it there and he handed me his helmet. And before I could say anything, he looked at me and he said, "I'm trying, man. I'm trying." I said, "Okay, good. Next time you'll be all right then." And I gave him a little pat on the rear. And you'd be amazed that that seemed to lift him up, make him feel good. Because players can be such self-doubters that they can kill themselves almost. And you'd be amazed how many big league players need a little vote of confidence.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with these fine folks?
No, except that I was fortunate that I knew what I wanted to do. And as Lord said, he said, "Ben, you know where to put a person to succeed." And in coaching, that is very important. Bob Bucci should stand here tonight. And part of my first year's success, part of my first year's success was a baseball player, a basketball player that Bob Bucci recruited. He recruited him a lot more than I did. But he turned out to be my best pitcher that year. And the Minnesota Twins drafted him. And at the end of that year, he was pitching in Minnesota. It cost him his right arm because they sent him from that season to Winter League down in Venezuela. And at the end of all this, that 1 year cycle, his arm was dead. And he never did really have the snap in his fastball after that. But Bob Bucci made me a better coach 1 year. Thanks, Bob.
Could we have the lights back on, please? And we are going to have one of the audience share some words with you.
told him to be careful what he said because I was going to speak too. And can you take your gum out, okay? I know, he loves them. Well, I just wanted to share a little personal background about Ben and have a few words to say. He was born in Oklahoma, came to California at age 8, and I, the same, was born in Oklahoma, came to California at age 10. We both ended up in McFarland High School. He excelled in 3 sports, football, basketball, and baseball, but surprise, baseball was his greatest love. So much so that his dad, an oil field worker, once told him, "You'll never amount to anything. All you want to do is chase that blankety-blank ball." But he had a dream, and he persevered. He came to Laverne and played 3 sports, drawing some interest from some baseball scouts. But in baseball, as in life, timing is everything. After 1 year in college, at age 19, he married his high school sweetheart, me. What did I know? I was only 18. He still tried to play some minor league summer baseball, and he might have made it as a player. Timing. By the time he graduated, we had 3 little mouths to feed. Our beautiful daughter Christy is here tonight. So he did the next best thing. He took a job to coach and teach at ULV. And now I had been working as a secretary while he finished college. In my next life, I'm going to finish first while he works. But I started teaching. I finished my education and started teaching, and the first year our combined salary, his college salary, my public school salary, was $10,000. Oh boy, we were going to be rich. We could even afford to buy Hershey bars and Gatorade for the team's double headers. And then we had to buy an old station wagon so we could haul the players. There was no budget at Laverne. The first year he coached, his record was 3-25.
What year was that?
What was your first year? He graduated in 58, so that was 1960.
Thank you.
And it was on a field kind of like a sand lot that did not sit too well with his dream. So he and players, friends, fans, and family, including me and the kids and all the neighbor people, built a field. Dugouts were built by Robert Rodriguez, lights by City and Mayor Frank Johnson and Mylan Rupel, and others. He even had a fundraiser to build some little small stands, and he got fans to donate $50 with the promise that their name would be on a space. Many years later, Burton Liskey would say, "Ben, I've looked all over and I still can't find my name." But you know, build it, they will come. And they did. First it was parents and girlfriends. Then after a while, it was scouts. Over a period of 20 years, winning the Nationals in 1972, he amassed over 500 wins and 55 professional players, some are here tonight, and many others went on to successful careers. So get your education. Of course, he was recruiting and building, and he was gone for 11 straight summers, coaching semi-pro teams, bringing some of those players back to Laverne. And someone had to keep the home fires burning, keep her job, take care of kids. But the biggest asset ever was getting close to players and families at ULV. Sometimes he wouldn't be home from the summer yet. He'd still be finishing up and a knock would be at the door, and I'd go and see a strange face or faces, and my name is so-and-so, and Coach said I could stay here until I find a place to live and enroll at Laverne. One time we had 6 out in the garage in sleeping bags. And they stayed for meals. So I would just make a bigger bowl of mashed potatoes. And we had lots of extras for Sunday dinner, always. From ULV, after the kids graduated, he went to Arizona State. Again, timing. The first year there, they won the Nationals. Made him look good. One more year, and then the chance to go into professional baseball, eventually ending up with the Dodgers in '84, and you know, national champs in '88. I was still working, and after his 9 years with the Dodgers, I couldn't travel with the team, and Peter O'Malley let wives and kids travel anywhere on their team, their plane. Timing. After 30 years in the not yet. After 30 years in the Bonita district, I was going to travel with the team. I was going to go to spring training. I was going to go to New York, all those places. So I retired in June, and as baseball goes, timing, they let Ben go in September. So I didn't get to travel. But values of his dealing with all those thousands of people were so important. And my years of dealing with thousands of students are priceless. And he met his dream. So thanks to the Verne Historical Society, Hillcrest, and all of you here tonight who shared his dream along the way. It's been a good road, a little bumpy at times, as life is. I once told him, "You are the biggest baseball nut I have ever known. Baseball always comes first. Someday, you're going to look in the mirror and see stitching across your head." As said, we now live here at Hillcrest, just around the corner. Come by and you might see us sitting on the porch. I can still make mashed potatoes and he can still talk baseball for hours and hours. Thank you.
Could I please have Mayor Don Kendrick and Mayor Pro Tem Mayor Davis step up? And I would like to introduce Debbie Mendelson. Deborah Mendelson is the field deputy for Supervisor Catherine Barger. We're going to go up on the stage and she has a little presentation for Ben. So up we go.
I have a question for you, Ben.
Okay.
In 1988, it's my understanding that Mickey Hatcher wanted you to wear number 57 instead of 35.
You know, Hatcher tries to take credit for that, but it was really Vince Scully's idea. Vin had been off to me, Vince Scully probably reminded me every year that I should be married 57. And he said, and he always reminded me when we flew into Pittsburgh. He said, Ben, you should be married 57. But I never did.
I don't blame you.
Well, I should have. I probably should have. It would have been good PR.
And what would your jersey would have read? What would your What would your jersey have said?
Hines. Hines 57.
Mr. Hines, my name is Deborah Mendelson, and I represent Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger. You know, I've never felt so much pressure during a presentation to knock one out of the park, nor have I ever felt such fear over positive reinforcement. So maybe I should step over here. It's truly an honor to be here and to share with all of you. I've had some opportunities to participate in the Verne Historical Society events, and they're always engaging and always worth all of our times. And I grew up with the Dodgers. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I remember my first game watching Ron Say and Steve Garvey and all those folks, and Dusty Baker, who was my very favorite. And continuing through the years, and I remember watching that exact moment when Kirk Gibson hit that run. I was in college, and it was just a tremendous moment, but not as exciting as the opportunity that I have to represent the county, to present a very special commendation. And I know you have a lot of memorabilia, and they're all in Dodger blue, but this one is in Laverne green and orange.
Oh, yeah.
And if I can take a moment to read this to you, it is a commendation on behalf of the County of Los Angeles in recognition of your dedicated service to the affairs of the community, for the civic pride demonstrated by your numerous contributions for the benefit of all the citizens of Los Angeles County, your players, your coaches, and all of us who stood by in the stands cheering everybody on. On behalf of Supervisor Catherine Barger, sir, it's my privilege to present this to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Now the wave. That's right, in the beach ball.
Thank you.
All right, well, Ben, thank you for a lovely evening. That was delightful. And thank you all for turning out for our last evening of the year with the Historical Society. We'll be back with more for you in October. Don't forget, we have our potluck picnic. We have picked the date. I believe it is the 25th of August for the Verne Historical Society picnic. If you're a member, that will be posted up on the website and sent to you as an email. If you're not a member, you can go to our website, download our membership form, and for $20 a year, as I said, less than lunch at Panera, you can hear everything about the Verne Historical Society. But tonight, we want to thank again Ben Hines for a wonderful evening. Don't forget, have a little goodies. We've got still some cookies, maybe a few Dodger dogs left, and some photos to look at. So I'm going to turn it back over to Rick. Any last questions?
No, that's all.
And that's all, folks.